Hello, my name's Nigel Cox and I'm the Senior Horticulture Lecturer at Bridgewater and Taunton College. This is the third in my occasional series of Grow Your Own for giving you some advice on growing vegetables. Some of you may be doing it for the first time, others maybe just to freshen up your ideas. And this morning I want to talk to you about how to manage your vegetable plot. Now, many people will have a limited space in their vegetable area, and therefore you want to get the most out of it that's possible. And I'm going to give you a few tips of things that you can do to increase your output from your vegetable patch. A couple of general points to start with. I guess the first one is to say, don't plant too many vegetables of the same sort. You'll find that they all mature at the same time, and then you get a glut, and then they get wasted. So that's one tip. And the second is, don't forget that you can grow plants along the ground and you can also grow them vertically. So runner beans, climbing beans, those increase the space by using upwards as well. And of course also carrots and other root vegetables are going down as well. So I'm going to talk about three particular types of ways of maximizing your crop. Now, in addition to people who may have a vegetable patch or an allotment, you may actually only have a courtyard or something like that, and in which case it's perfectly feasible to grow things in a series of pots, so you can grow vegetables in pots quite well. The other thing is that often it's easier to start things off in a greenhouse. That means it extends your season and you get earlier cropping and also perhaps sometimes better germination. Now, the three methods I'm going to talk about today are intercropping, successional sowing, and cut and come again. Now, what do we mean by these and why are they so important? Well, the first one is intercropping. Now, in your vegetable patch, you will have some plants, some vegetables that take a long time to mature. For example, things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, the winter cabbages. They can be in the ground for as much as 6 months. And during that time, that space is occupied, and there may be spaces between those plants. Now, what you can do is you can select a fast growing crop and plant it in between your rows of cabbages and Brussels sprouts and whatever. And that fast crop you can harvest very quickly. So for some examples of that, radishes, spinach, lettuces, all of these can cover that ground. In fact, here I have a crop of radishes which I've sowed alongside my first row of beetroot. So that's intercropping. Now, the other benefit, of course, is that you're going to cover the ground. You're not going to leave exposed soil because if you've got exposed soil, the worst thing that is you get lots of weeds coming. So intercropping is a really good practice throughout the season, so not wasting space. Now, the other thing I mentioned earlier was about the fact that sometimes you get everything comes together and you get a glut. Now, the answer to that is successional sowing. Sow a few every few weeks. So, for example, lettuces, sow some more lettuces every 2 weeks, let's say, and you'll then get a succession of crop throughout the season, and you won't get too many at one time. So, examples of things that we could use for that: lettuces, yes, spinach you could do, peas, you can get different varieties of peas which will mature at different times of the year. Broad beans, again, similarly, you can sow those successionally. And potatoes. If you grow potatoes, you can grow an early, a mid and a late crop, and all of those will give you a continuity of crop, with potatoes, of course, right through till the winter. Don't forget beetroot, carrots, again, also things that you can successionally sow over the year. Now, the third suggestion is using cut and come again. Now, cut and come again basically is for leafy greens, so things like open-hearted lettuce, spinach, rocket, mizuna, pak choy, mustard. All of these different vegetables, they're very fast growing, and you only need a few leaves, and you can pick a few leaves as you go and add them to a salad, and that allows the plant to carry on growing, and you can continuously harvest over a period of time. So that's another good tip. Now the weather is fantastic at the moment, and it's an ideal opportunity now the soil is warming up to get some of those seeds in the ground. Carrot, for example. Carrots don't like cold weather. They really don't germinate if the temperature of the soil is below 7 degrees. So a few warm days and you'll suddenly find that you're getting your carrots to germinate. You can see behind me I've got some cloches which are giving protection to the soil. If you can cover up the soil for a little while before you start your sowing, that helps to warm it up, and that warmth will help the germination process. I'm going to end just with a little story. Intercropping is not new. It's been around since forever. And the Native Americans, many hundreds of years ago, practiced something called the Three Sisters Guild. And in the Three Sisters Guild, they grew their sweet corn on their plot. And then they grow beans, and those beans they planted around the sweet corn. And as the beans climbed, they climbed up the sweet corn. Now, in addition, the beans fixed nitrogen in the soil, and that nitrogen then helped to feed the sweet corn. And the third crop that they sowed was squashes. And squashes climb, and they also creep along the ground, and they have big leaves. And that grew around the sweet corn and the beans, and the leaves covered the soil and stopped the weeds growing. Common sense in many ways. Don't forget the main things: succession, intercropping, cut and come again, and don't ignore the fact that you've got a vertical space as well as a horizontal space. So for the time being, I'll wish you good gardening, enjoy growing your own vegetables, stay safe, stay home, and we'll all see this through together. Thank you.